Hello and welcome to the show. This is Everything Under the Sun. My name is Ty. Hope all of you are doing amazing out there. I was looking through photos the other day, and I guess a little backstory first. Back in 2011, I went to Costa Rica with some friends, and I bought these puka shells. And the whole story behind that involves like a dark alley and almost getting kidnapped. It's a whole nother story entirely. But I bought these puka shells, and I swear to you, I wore these puka shells for like 2 years in a row. And I'm looking through old photos, and I'm just seeing photo after photo of these pictures with me wearing these puka shells, and I'm like, what was I thinking? And instantly, I had like the words of my friend just pop into my head, and I swear to you, she is like one of the realest people I know. But her name is Erin White, and we worked together at a weight loss camp in upstate New York. And just one day, we were just hanging out. This is about 2 months into the summer, so we've already been working for a while. I'm wearing these puka shells every single day of that summer, and she randomly just stops me, and she's like, "So Ty, what the fuck is up with those puka shells?" And I was like, "I have no idea what you mean." Aaron, I know what you mean now. I was looking through those photos, and I have no idea what I was thinking, but it was a learning experience. I know now, but it was just like a crazy situation that I just laugh about now. But that's that's neither here nor there. But I'm gonna try to get into this really fast because this is obviously, as you can see, a follow up episode, so it's gonna be shorter, but it's following up on feeling stuck from what you can see in the title. But before we get started, if you like this podcast, hit that subscribe button and share it with a friend or someone that you love or care about, or just anyone at all. You know, getting the word out, getting this community to grow bigger. I think it's something that's so important, and the work that you do helps out so much. So thank you so much for being so supportive. And yeah, subscribe if you haven't, and share it with someone that you love or care about, or just a random person walking down the street. I don't know. But the topic today is feeling stuck, or the follow up on feeling stuck. And I want to start off by first saying that, I listened back to the original episode on feeling stuck, and I just want to thank all of you. If you've been here from the beginning, thank you so much for sticking with me, because I listened to that episode and I swear to you, I'm like, what is this? It's not like the content of it was bad, but there was just stuff that didn't really need to be in there. A lot of stuff that could have just been cut out completely. So thank you for listening to that. If you listen to it, and I'm gonna have to go back and kind of edit it, but I don't know. It's kind of nice to hear myself because I can see the evolution that's happening, and I guess for the sake of just us as people, we evolve. We try new things, and sometimes we're gonna mess up, or sometimes it's not gonna be great, especially if we're first starting. So give yourself that acceptance and recognize the change that you go through, because I'm definitely recognizing it. So I'm kind of at odds between like deleting the episode, not deleting it, but cutting it out, or kind of leaving it as is and kind of representing the growth that's been happening through this. But I'm most likely going to go through and just kind of edit most of those episodes down, because they're just long and they make it harder for people to listen to. So yeah, I was listening to that episode, and there are a few things that I think are key points to hit back on, but also a few things to add to that, because there are so many aspects to this idea of feeling stuck that one of the things that I brought up was that it's not going to fit for everyone, like the things that you can do to get unstuck. But I think there are a few elements that it comes down to that can be so essential to helping us get out of that loop, get out of that cycle, get out of that feeling of just kind of being stagnant or being stuck in some kind of mood or state or place in life, whatever it is for you. I think it comes down to some key elements that we're holding within ourselves that are keeping us from getting to that place. So just a few points that were brought up in the episode. When we feel stuck, many times it's because something in us is telling us that it's a time for something to change. We've kind of fallen into this kind of monotony in some way. We've kind of fallen into this cycle where we've kind of removed ourselves from what we truly want to accomplish, or what we want to do in ourselves. And we know that because we're starting to feel that feeling inside of us, that something is kind of just stagnant, something is kind of off, something is kind of mundane about the situation, and that's us being stuck. That's us being stuck in something that just doesn't feel quite right for what we want for ourselves. And maybe it's time for a change up, and it's a time that you have to notice for yourself. It's a time for you. Like, no one else can tell you it's your time for implementing this into your life or doing this for yourself. That is something that's completely up to you, for you to decide. But think about the things that you want. Think about the things that maybe you're interested in that you just never really gone towards. Hobbies, things that like just explore who you are, and kind of get at a deeper place of who you are. Think about those things and incorporate them into your life when you feel it's time for you to incorporate them. Because every person, again, we have a time and a place that we have to incorporate different things in our lives, or that we want to, or that we're ready to. Because sometimes we deal with shit and we're like, I don't have time to get this into my life, or I don't have time to start incorporating this into my life. But at the end of the day, when it is our time, when we feel as though this is the time that we want to make that change, then it's going to feel right for you. And start incorporating those things and feel okay doing it. And I think that as you start doing that, you will notice differences. And I mean, it may not always be the best feeling, because sometimes change is uncomfortable, but that discomfort is telling you that it's something different than before, right? That mundaneness, that feeling of mundaneness, it's gone, right? Because you're doing something different. And although it's kind of shifted to maybe being some kind of anxious feeling, or some kind of unnerving feeling, as long as you can secure yourself in knowing that you're safe, that you're secure, and that you're just venturing onto like a new adventure that's causing you to feel different, then you can continue to move forward despite those feelings that are coming up, because that's just change. That's you kind of shaking up the normal pattern that you've had. Another thing that can kind of come into those feelings when you start implementing those changes are anxieties, fears, and worries that you have around, maybe, what if I don't do this right? What if I'm not good enough? What if, like, I've made the wrong decision? There are so many ifs that we can make that kind of stop us from even taking that next step. And that keeps us stuck. That keeps us doing the same thing that we've always done. So even if we take that next step, we may start having these fears and these worries, because we don't know, if we are making the right decisions, or if we're doing the things that we want to do correctly. But we can't let those things stop us, because those are, again, like, that's just change that's happening. Like, those worries are things because we're worried because we haven't done it before. And just because you have that worry, and just because you haven't done it before, it doesn't mean that you can't do it now. Too many times we let our past dictate what we can do in the future, and that's not the case at all. We have the choice right now in this moment to decide what we want to do next, to decide where we want to go next, and decide ultimately who we want to be next. Change is constantly happening, so anyone that tells you people don't change, that is a lie. Now, maybe the change is not dramatic, but we can change according to how we want to change, according to our own will. So make those changes in accordance to what you feel you want for yourself. Think about, again, those dreams, those goals, those things that make you feel good inside. Just thinking about them, imagining them makes you feel so much joy. Think about those dreams in comparison to those anxieties and those fears, and ask yourself, does this feeling of maybe this is not going to be okay, maybe this may not turn out okay, is that kind of thought and that feeling that comes along with it more important or stronger than that strong emotion that I feel when I think about achieving the things that I want to achieve? And oftentimes when we balance those out, we can keep moving forward knowing that we're supporting ourselves with our own passions. And I think that's one of the biggest things that we can do. And something that I'm pretty sure many of you may have picked up on is that a lot of these conversations are coming down to, what you want to do in life, where you want to go in life. And these conversations, I mean, they all come down to us. They all come down to what we want to do, because life is impacting us in every single way possible. We're living life, and everything is impacting it. Like, literally everything is impacting the way that we think, the way that we feel, the actions that we make. And when we think about all those impacts that they're making in our lives, we have to notice them. We have to identify what is actually happening in the situation that's impacting those goals and dreams that I feel within myself. And ultimately, again, it comes down to being you. And there's only one person that can be you, and that's you. You are perfect at doing you, And I think that we make a mistake when we try to be someone else, when we try to make ourselves in the image of someone else, because that's impossible. Like, no one can be you. Like, if someone tried to be exactly like you, they wouldn't be able to. It's completely impossible to be like anyone else. So be you. It's like we constantly bring ourselves to situations and we worry, am I enough? Am I doing enough? Do I deserve to have this? And we're thinking those thoughts because we're comparing ourselves to other people. We're comparing ourselves to other people that may have what we want. And like, I'm not that person, like, that's not me. Or feeling as though, like, since we don't identify, since maybe we haven't had the background they have, maybe since whatever factors that they had in their life, we don't have it in our lives, and we feel as though that's unattainable, then we're doing ourselves a disservice. There's so many things. I mean, it comes down to the very lives that we live and how we interact with other people. I mean, social media, the entire reason why there's so much depression and anxiety and negative self-identification is because other people are trying to be like the people that they see, like the Instagram models and things like that. And at the end of the day, it's like that's not how we live our happiness. That's not how we live our truths by trying to be someone else. And I'm not saying that, you can't implement and bring some of those things into your life, but add your own element. I'm not sure if any of you watch like American Idol or anything like that, but the artist will sing and sometimes it sounds really amazing. It sounds exactly like the song. And the judges will say, "Wow, that was great," but it sounded exactly like the song, exactly like how the artist sang it. Where are you at? Like they'll ask like where's your like personality coming through to the song? Everything that's unique in this world, everything that we are drawn to and we are attracted to is unique. New business ideas, new things that are coming up in the world, like they're things that we grab onto because it's something that's unique. These social media people that we love and we kind of like feel like we're drawn towards, they're people with personalities that we feel like we're connected to. They feel like they're real. That realness is something that we're starting to notice more and more, is something that we appreciate. So be real in yourself. Something I always say and something I brought up in the last episode is, everyone has a seat at the table, but you have to allow yourself to be at that table. You have to know that you are good enough to be at that table, because so many people won't even look at the table because they don't feel like they're good enough to sit at that table. But you bringing everything you have, uniquely you bringing everything you have, you are good enough to be at that table. So know that you're good enough and bring yourself to that table and bring everything that you have, because people will love it because it's unique, and it's unique because you are unique. And it's like it's something that is it's so it's so hard for us to fully accept ourselves when we feel like we're in a world of just judgments and criticisms and kind of idealism of being something else or doing something else. But at the end of the day, those people that are being and they're doing, those are people that have confidence in themselves and are moving just being themselves. And it's something it's really amazing and freeing when you find that your unique abilities are able to produce amazing things in this world. So there was a story. I'm reading this book, You're a Badass Every Day by Jen Sincero, and there's a little story in here that I wanted to read to you because I think it's something that it can speak to a lot of us as we kind of think about just ourselves in this world and just being maybe a little different, because each of us are different in our own way. So here's a story. There's a lovely story about a woman who walks to a stream many miles away, fills her 2 clay pots with water, and carries them back to her house, dangling each pot from either side of a long stick that she drapes across her shoulders. When she arrives home each day with the water, one pot is full and one is half empty. The half empty pot is all sad and feels like a big fat loser because it's got a crack in it, and it beats itself up for wasting water, for doing a bad job, for not being as perfect or effective as the crack-free pot. It tells the woman how ashamed it is, but the woman thinks this pot is doing a fabulous job, and tells it how the world is a better place because of its crack. She explains that the path to the stream that she walks every day for the past 2 years now has a stunning line of flowers growing along one side, thanks to the water that's dripping out of the pot. She tells the pot how much joy the flowers bring her every time she sees them, and how they would never have been able to grow without the crack in the pot. She reminds the cracked pot that the side of the path with the flowers is full of life and color and bees and birds. Everything in our reality is reflected back to us depending on how we choose to perceive it. Your flaws are either strikes against you or part of what makes you unique and awesome. It's your choice. Find beauty in everything about yourself instead of beating yourself up or deciding you suck because you're not like everyone else. Not only is loving yourself a more joyful way to walk through life, but you never know what brilliance you might sprout up from your temporary failures. It's possible you will wind up creating something far more beautiful than what you had set out to create, and that you would have never even known existed if you hadn't screwed up. So that story it's just something that I think it speaks a lot more to just that idea of accepting yourself, but also appreciating your mistakes, appreciating the things that make you you. Because every mistake is a learning experience, and every part that's different than the rest of the world, every part of you that's different than the rest of the world makes you unique. It means that that's what you bring to the table. Bring that part of yourself, bring yourself to the table, and show how amazing you are. I think that there's so much that we have to offer once we believe in ourselves. I started writing my goals down, and one of my goals, well, actually, I was writing my goals down, and I was in the middle of like writing it, and at the end of one, I almost started drawing an emoji out, which was kind of just ridiculous. But I'm writing my goals out, and one of the goals was to be yourself. Well, part of the goal was to be yourself, and once I said it or like wrote it down, it was something that made me feel something a lot deeper than what I expected to feel. And I had to think about that, and I realized that I'm a very quiet person. I'm a very kind of private person in many ways, but something I realized was that kind of feeling that I had within myself to kind of withdraw myself from the world, to kind of keep myself shielded from the world, like the parts of myself that I thought maybe people didn't want to see, or people didn't like, or whatever that may be. I started to realize that those kind of insecurities about myself and just who I was as a person was stopping me and impeding my presence in just the world itself. And I think that a lot of times when we shut ourselves down to different situations, or whether it's emotionally or physically or whatever it is, we also start doing that in different parts of our lives without even realizing it. And one thing with me, I used to pride myself on not really showing my emotions, not really letting people know what's really on my mind. And that kind of started to move into these different parts of my life where I started just not expressing myself. I stopped showing myself up to the world. And it started to make me kind of feel as though maybe I wasn't able to, or maybe, I don't know. But as we kind of go through our lives, we get these different moments where we have those feelings of, just insecurities within self, and maybe they're insecurities that we don't even notice within ourselves, but they keep us from moving forward. They keep us from being ourselves in the world. So as we kind of think about just this idea of being stuck, think about the ways in which you're keeping yourself stuck by the limiting thoughts that you have within your own mind, the things that you're thinking about as far as just if you're good enough, if you are, able to achieve these things, if you deserve to have these things. These are all things that kind of come down to attacking us, who we are as people, ourselves attacking us, like at the very root of who you are. So when it comes down to being stuck, or this idea of being stuck, or this feeling of being stuck, think about those things in which, are you limiting yourself? Do you feel as though you have the confidence in yourself to bring yourself to the world without comparison to anyone else, without feeling as though you have to fit inside of any type of niche or any type of, look or whatever it is? Do you feel like you are enough? And if the answer to that is no, then identify those reasons why you're feeling that, and identify the ways in which that uniqueness, those differences, can bring amazing things to the world, things that the world has never seen. I think that we would do ourselves an amazing service as humans to bring ourselves to understand ourselves more and allow ourselves to be in the world and share our unique talents and our unique minds to everyone else. Like that's how we grow, that's how we learn, that's how we share these ideas that expand us and help us to grow in so many different ways. So as I kind of close this out, be yourself, love yourself. You're unique and beautiful just the way you are, and that's enough. So follow your dreams, achieve your goals, and be yourself, and don't let anyone else tell you that you're not good enough, especially yourself. So yeah, that's all I got for this topic. If you have any thoughts or ideas or other topics that you'd like to share, you can send those to everything.sunpodcast@gmail.com. You can join the Instagram page at everything.sunpodcast, and you can join the Twitter page at everysunpodcast, or the Facebook page at everysunpodcast. Also just updated that information. So yeah, that's all I got for this one. Love you all, and I will see you next time.